Hi Huskies, in this video we're going to be going over how to make and print answer sheets for regular assessments, larger assessments like tests. It's going to be a little bit longer video, but this is probably the most useful one that you can watch because this is what gets you started and can get the answer sheets into your students' hands. So let's take a look at what we have. This is the assessment that I am going to be making an answer sheet for. I just made up a fake assessment that I'll later be giving to my seminar to show you how to deal with data on Data Director in a later video. But you can see I have 5 multiple choice questions here. I have one question that I tried to make a math question, and finally an essay question, kind of to show you all the different question options in an assessment. So of course we've logged on to Data Director. We're at the opening screen here. I'm going to go in the top left corner to my switcher. I'm going to go to Assessments. Since I already have my test made up and I simply want to make an answer sheet to go along with that test, I'm going to use Create Assessment and make a new answer sheet assessment. We'll go over these other ones in a more advanced later video. So I'm going to click New Answer Sheet Assessment. It's going to ask for a whole bunch of information on this. I'm going to fill this out, but this is simply ways to help you find your assessments later. These don't actually change anything about the actual assessment, nor do they actually have to be all that correct. For example, I'm going to say this is 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grades, but if I only give it to 9th graders, it doesn't matter. Again, just a way to help us figure out, help us find it again. Subject area, I'm going to say this is other, because it's kind of, out there. I'm going to call this a school assessment. Again, none of this really matters, so we'll go through it pretty quickly. I'm going to give it in the 15-16 school year, and the date I can pick whatever date I want to. I'm gonna pick next Monday as the date that I plan on giving this exam. Now, the one thing I do suggest taking seriously here is the upload a file. Once you have multiple versions of tests, it is very helpful to have the specific file uploaded that goes to this specific assessment. So I'm going to find my file here. I know I named it Mock Seminar Assessment. There it is. And I'm going to upload it, and it's there. Now I know that this answer sheet goes to this assessment. And now it's the part that we've been waiting for. We're going to add some questions to our assessment. We're going to start by adding a single question. And it's as simple as just clicking this Add Question button. It automatically picks a multiple choice question, but you have multiple options here. Alternating multiple choice gives you A, B, C, D, and then E, F, G, H, just like you would see on the ACT or SAT. Multiple response is a multiple choice, but they can answer more than one answer. True or false, self-explanatory. Short answer, rubric, and number grid, I'll show you here in a second. My first question on my assessment is a multiple choice question, so this one's already all set to go. I usually make all the questions first and then add the answers later. So I know I'm going to have seven questions though. And I could go through and add one question at a time, but that's time consuming and I'm busy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Add Multiple Question. I'm going to slide this little bar over until it says 6 questions. That's going to tell me that I'm going to add 6 more questions, which is going to give me the 7 questions that I need total. And they're all going to match this multiple choice. So there I go. It adds all my 7 questions that I need. My first 5 are already all set, ready to go. They're multiple choice questions, A, B, C, D, and they're all worth 1 point. Now when I go back to my assessment, I see that question 6 is going to be a math question. So I need them to be able to write their answer down. And I'm going to say this one's going to be worth 2 points. So I'm going to go to question 6. And I'm going to first set it so that it's 2 points. I'm going to set it so it's 2 points. And then I have 3 options that I like to use for math problems. The first option that you have is short answer, and it's simply going to be, is this correct, or no, this is wrong. And they're either going to get 2 points or 0 points. And when we look at the answer sheet, that's going to look something like this. We're going to have a spot where they can put their answer, and then there's going to be a spot where you can mark yes or no, whether they got it right or not. Another option that I have is I could use a number grid. Now this number grid allows me to do different numbers. So for example, if I needed 3 digits, and I would give them the values 0 through 9, I can type in the right answer down here. Let's call it 9.17. Call that done. Oh, sorry, it's got to be 917, although I tell my students where to put the decimal point on that question. And that's going to give us something that looks like this, a number grid here, where they can go, they fill in 917, and I usually have them draw the decimal point in here. Sometimes you can have minor mistakes in here. So actually my preferred answer that I like to use is a rubric question. Now a rubric question is just going to be a question where you mark how many points they get. So for example, I have 2 points that I want this assessment out of. So I'm going to want the options to give them 0 points, 1 point, or 2 points with a maximum value of 2. If I put a maximum value of 1 here, that's going to make each one of these bubbles worth half a point. So it is possible to do half points here if you would like. But I usually just give them 0, 1, or 2, and I'm usually looking for 2 things that they're doing in that problem. That's going to give us an answer sheet that looks something like this, with just 0, 1, and 2. The student actually doesn't write anything here. They're going to write all their work and their answer on the assessment, and I'll grade it on their answer sheet. It's a little bit more work, but it helps me collect the data. I mean, it's really a matter of filling in a bubble after you've graded it, so not that much more work than just grading it simply. So, and then finally, I have an essay problem. For an essay problem, I really like to use the rubric. I'm going to say that rubric question is going to be worth 4 points. So I'm going to need the option to do 0 through 4. And my max value is going to be 4. So I'm all set there. My assessment's all done. I have my assessment loaded. I have all the answers, multiple choice. All I have to do is fill in the answers for the multiple choice, which happen to be D, C, C, D, D, and you can see those answers are now gray as I clicked on them. And I hit Save Changes. That'll save it so that my assessment's ready to go. I can always go back and change this, even if they've scanned their answers in. And let's say I accidentally marked C and this answer is supposed to be D. I can come back here and change it, and it's going to retroactively change all of the answers that answer sheets that I've already scanned in here. So it's pretty reliable. The only thing you cannot do is add or take away questions. You can only change answers or point values. Finally, quickly I want to go over how to print this. We're going to go back to Overview. From Overview, you're going to be down here. You have a couple options, print with student names or print the answer sheets without student names. You can also see, here's my assessment. So it's always tied to this. I can't lose it. I always print with student names. It's the easiest way to do it. So let's pick semester 2. You can pick semester 1. If it's a year-long class, you have to make sure that you click full year, even if you're in semester 2. For example, my IB Physics is a year-long class, so anything I want to print for IB Physics, I always have to print full year. But my seminar is only a semester, so I'm going to hit semester 2. I want all grades, so I'm actually going to leave that blank. If there was a specific grade that you wanted to click, you can click 1. If you hold Control, you can click multiple ones. But I don't need any of those. My seminar is during my first hour, and I'm also going to mark seminar. If you want to pick just a few students from this, you can click I want to pick individual students, but if you want the whole class, all you have to do is click Generate Answer Sheet, and it will bring it up and start downloading it down here in the bottom left. To print it, you print it like any other PDF. The only thing that you have to make sure to look at is right here, the letter and paper size. For bigger assessments, it will push you to an 8.5 by 14. So make sure that if you are printing on an 8.5 by 14, you print to the right tray. But for most reasonable size assessments, it's going to print on 8.5 by 11. So all you have to do is click Print. Make sure it's not two-sided. If you print two-sided, it will make you very sad because your students will have to take tests on the opposite sides of a piece of paper, and that can be pretty challenging. But from here, it prints like any other assessment.